Would you like to have your query letter critique, but you don't want to pay to have that happen? It can be done for free, but it will be public out here on all my socials. My name is Gina. I'm an author, editor, publishing professional. I help you make your writing better. Information on how to submit will be at the end of the video, but please remember there's a real live person on the other side of this query, and so we are all going to be nice to them in the comments, and I'm going to endeavor to be constructive, not destructive, and nobody tell them to just self-publish because that's not how any of this works. Let's jump in. I am seeking representation for my fantasy novel Broken Fire, and 111,000 word standalone novel with series potential. When Arabella Haynes, I would like to see some comp titles. I'm not sure. Yep, I don't think we have comp titles. I would like to see some comp titles in there. Fantasy has a lot of subgenres and has a lot of little niches within it. You do not necessarily need to identify that subgenre or those niches by name, especially if you think you could fit into a couple of them at the same time. But give me a couple of authors or comp titles, something that gives me a vibe so I understand, am I looking at something that feels more Game of Thrones or something that feels more Legends and Latte? When Arabella Haynes accidentally unleashes forbidden magic that mutilates her young sister, oh, maybe more Game of Thrones than Legends and Lattes, her dream of becoming a folklore professor, and there we are a little bit more confused again. Do you see why I need to have some comp titles up here? I need to know what it is I am getting into. Is this going to be a dark and violent fantasy, or is this going to be something cozy? Is this more Emily Wilde trying to be a professor, or is this something dark, gritty, a paranormal fantasy? You got to give us a little bit of direction here. Her dream of becoming a folklore professor turns into a guilt-ridden nightmare of exile. Inspired by her late mother's storytelling, Era has always had, this might be just like a me thing, but I think if you are going to identify a character by the name Era all the way through the query letter, just call her that from the beginning. And this is pretty specific to fantasy, that people give them a long name and then never ever call them by that name throughout the entire story. Just call her Era. That's your character's name. Ira has always dreamt of a life in academia. When unexplainable fire bursts from one of her books, superstitious villagers drive her to run away to avoid imprisonment. That sounds like you've told us the same thing twice. This time it is very specific that it hurt her sister, and here it is that she's been run out of town by villagers. I think we need to combine these in a way that feels a little bit more streamlined and like we're not repeating ourselves. Devastated, Era flees and discovers the folklore everyone fears is true. The ley lines of her studies are real, and by igniting them, Era passes through a portal between worlds, discovering a realm of magic. Oh, this all now sounds like backstory. This sounds like this is our like call to adventure here, and that this all is actually, most of this is backstory. Possibly not, possibly, I'm not sure, but it sounds like we might be shining the spotlight in the wrong place. Upon arrival, Era is trapped in a small part of this new world, a dark manor with cursed mages bound by a saboteur to further a sinister political agenda. I would like some specificity here. You've told us about the magic bursting out of her twice. How is she bound by this saboteur? What's the sinister political agenda? We are talking about a query letter needs stakes, and you have shined the spotlight on what used to happen or what happened to her before rather than what is happening right now. This sinister political agenda is probably really important. But in an effort to, I don't know, not spoil the plot, possibly, you have instead told us her backstory twice and are leaving us sort of in the dark here. Name 57 fantasy books with a sinister political agenda. There's a lot of them. So you're not setting yourself apart by being vague here. This is where we would like to see some specificity and see how it is that Ara is the one who is going to help save the world. No attempt to break the curse has succeeded in 2 years. Yet Ara's rival defies reason. The portals between the magical and mortal realms were sealed 25 years ago, long before the curse was cast. Why do we need that piece? Let's keep going. Ara's arrival, but I do want to point out, like, when you are being deliberately vague with something that should be specific and then being super specific with something that doesn't feel necessary, it feels confusing, and agents who are mostly skimming over this, they are like, I'm not entirely sure why I'm supposed to care about this. So shine the spotlight in the right places. Ara's arrival should have been impossible, curse or no curse. Okay, so her arrival defies reason. It should have been impossible, so you're being very repetitive. Plagued with guilt for harming and abandoning her family. Third time you've told us that. Ara resolves to return home with magical aid to undo the damage she inadvertently caused. Third time you've said that. And in the process, accept her magical heritage. As Ara learns about this new world, including her mother's secret life as a mage, she grows closer to the manor's inhabitants, especially the kind prince. But time is short. If they cannot find a way to break the curse soon, death is certain. Ara must use her intellectual strength to seek answers to the questions that may kill them all. Why are these questions going to kill them all? Why is she the one who is able to undo this? And accept that the only way to fight certain secrets is to forgive those who kept them. Yeah, we're shining the spotlight in all of the wrong places. So I want to know more about what these secrets are. I want to know more about why Ara is the person to be able to solve this problem. Let's talk about those 5 questions. Who is our main character? It is Ara. What is it that she wants to be? An academic? What is she willing to do to get that? No idea. That is totally and completely thrown out the window from the beginning. So let's say she is the one who wants to save this world. Do you see why the spotlight is being shined in the wrong place? Because you have her desires being thrown away immediately for in favor of a different storyline. So let's say that it is that she wants to save the world, I guess. What is she willing to do to get that? Some research, maybe a little bit. They're kind of looking around. So again, we have shined the spotlight in the wrong place. We don't know what it is she's actually trying to do to break this curse. We're not entirely sure what the curse actually is. What is standing in her way? General cursedness. There's a sinister cursed mage, saboteur, but we don't know what they are sabotaging. We don't know why they are sabotaging it. We don't know what the curse is. We don't know what the political structure, like, we don't know what is actually standing in her way besides like general evil. And what happens if she fails? Also not totally clear. This is cursed with a sinister political agenda. We're trapped. We don't know why. So I know who my main character is. I know what she used to want, but not really what she wants now or why she's the person who's in the best position to be able to fix this. I don't know what she's willing to do to get it because I don't know what it is. We have focused a little bit in the wrong places. So I would shrink down that little bit of backstory and instead focus here and give us some of these details that actually set your story apart and are going to make your character feel active and feel fresh within this space. If you would like to submit, the information on how to do so is linked in my link tree. It is under the query critique submission. If you don't want to do this publicly, that's totally understandable. I have an editing business in which I do 3 rounds of edits back and forth with you, and I ask you those 5 questions and I coach you through the process of editing this. If you do not want to pay for that process, which is pricey and the line to get into that service is fairly long, I do have a course linked on TikTok or on my Patreon that is $30 for 3.5 hours worth of content that you can teach yourself this entire process. It also helps you to navigate some tricky etiquette processes in the querying system. And it also shows before and afters of successful clients who have gone on to be signed with literary agents or who have signed publishing contracts based on the letters I edited with them.